July 20, 1944, a bomb explodes in the map room of the Wolfschanz, the Führer's headquarters in East Prussia. That explosion was the key maneuver of Operation Valkyrie, an elaborate plan that aimed to kill Hitler and seek to bring an end to a war that Germany would undoubtedly lose. Operation Valkyrie had other goals in its beginnings. Approved by the Führer himself, it was conceived in 1941 as a contingency plan to mobilize Berlin's reserve army in Situation was needed on the combat front in the event of an Allied invasion or due to an uprising of the millions of forced laborers and prisoners of war in Germany's borders. General Albrecht, a member of the German resistance, had a second version of this operation, which was signed by Hitler himself at the end of 1943. It consisted of establishing operational combat groups to maintain law and order, declaring a state of emergency because of Hitler's death. Essentially, the coup plan consisted of deceiving the reserve army into arrested and removing the German government in times of war, with the false idea that the SS had attempted a coup and assassinated the Führer. The troops that would participate in Operation Valkyrie, according to the modifications made by Albrecht, were especially responsible for occupying all cities and mainly Berlin's ministries and Nazi party headquarters, radio stations and telephone centers, concentration camps, and disarming SS troops. They would also execute their leaders if they attempted to resist or refused to obey. As we know, the plan went terribly wrong. From the beginning, the key factor of the operation was Hitler's death, which did not happen. A series of reasons beyond the coup plotters saved the Führer, which he called divine providence. But let's see some of them. Initially, it was expected that the morning meeting to evaluate the front situation would take place in the concrete bunker of the Wolfschanz. This enclosed space would greatly enhance the bomb's explosion. However, at the last minute, the Führer decides to hold the meeting in the map room, a conventional cement and wood construction that would considerably reduce the bomb's deadly effects. In addition to this, due to a time factor, Colonel Stauffenberg could only activate one of the bombs. The other explosive was carried away by his assistant, Lieutenant Werner von Haeften. According to historian Ian Kershaw, if the other device had been left inside the briefcase, it would have doubled the explosion's power, and none of the 24 people in the Wolfschanz map room would have survived. Despite this setback, the plan continued, and the briefcase with the explosive was left very close to the Hitler, but by fate Lieutenant Brandt stumbled upon it and removed it from the location, changing its position and sentenced Valkyrie to failure. How we can see in the graphic, the bomb was located between circle number 1, which was Hitler, and number 4, which was a high-ranking officer of the Wehrmacht. When Lieutenant Brandt stumbled upon the briefcase, he changed its location and placed it behind one of the solid wooden bases of the table. But let's suppose that the German leader actually lost his life and the Valkyrie operation was successful. Would the Second World War have really ended in a short period of time? Would the Allies have negotiated peace? Would Himmler and Göring not have tried to take power? What was the opinion of the Allies when they learned of the assassination attempt? The most optimistic theories say that the new government formed by officers Ludwig Beck, Friedrich Gordeler, and Klaus von Stauffenberg would have quickly reached a peace agreement with the Allies. This means that the 10 million lives lost between July 1944 and the end of the war in Europe could have been saved. In addition, the total devastation of Germany, France, Poland, the Netherlands, Italy, and Belgium could have been avoided. But, as I said, this is the most optimistic theory and therefore the least probable. The success of the operation did not guarantee that the Western Allies would negotiate with the new government. When the Casablanca Conference held in Morocco in January 1943, the Allies had determined that the objective of continuing the fight was to seek the unconditional surrender of the Axis powers. Also, the coup plotters were nationalists and their intentions included maintaining the annexed territories of Austria and Czechoslovakia, and if possible, continuing the war on the Eastern Front against the Soviet Union. When the main leaders of the Allied powers, such as Roosevelt and Churchill, heard about the assassination attempt, their opinion was indifferent. The attack was underestimated, and the British leader declared on August 2 in the House of Commons that it was simply extermination struggles between the dignitaries of the Third Reich. The most important people in Germany are killing each other or trying to do so, while the avenging armies of the Allies approach the condemned and increasingly narrow circle of their power. In the United States, a similar opinion was shared as that of the British. On August 9th, the New York Times estimated that the attack evoked a settling of accounts in the dark atmosphere of a world of criminals and did not correspond to the behavior normally expected from military officers of a civilized state. On the Soviet side, the opinion was firm. Ilya Ehrenburg, a journalist for the Red Star, the official newspaper of the Red Army, wrote, "It will not be mutinous officers who will bring the Nazi Germany to its knees, but rather the Red Army and its allies. Our armies are faster than the consciousness of the Fritz." Another theory claims that the coup was bound to fail because without the deaths of Himmler and Göring, either of these two could have repressed the conspirators. It is quite possible that power would have remained in Göring's hands, as he was more likely to accept unconditional surrender and all its consequences in order to avoid the total devastation of Germany. Being honest, I believe that this would have been the most likely outcome if Valkyrie had succeeded. But, as I said, this is just speculation. What do you think would have happened? Thanks for watching the video. If you are interested about Second World War, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I upload new videos every week.